Hello.
Hello.
We're the back here.
Oh. Okay.
I'd like to ask, when you were writing Series 8,
Yes.
It seemed to me that you very much had sort of tried to take the character of Rimmer back to slightly more how he was at the beginning of Series, the early days, Series 1 and 2. Was that just my perception of it, or was that a deliberate move that you sort of went and looked back at the early days and sort of deliberately revisited a little bit how Rimmer had been back in his early years?
Well, that's really interesting you say that, because I have this theory that I'm going to do more of it. In some ways I didn't think it quite succeeded. Generally, when you start off with a series and it's working, you then just take it for granted. But then as the series gets older and older, the characters evolve and become more knowledgeable, more sophisticated. And I think that's actually the death of many series, because actually successful comedy characters generally work because of their lack of skills, because they don't have the talents to cope with situations. Although it's normal, for example, Lister's been driving Starbuck, so he should have got really pretty good at driving it by now. So that's what you do. But in fact, it's far funnier if they don't know how to operate anything and they are in charge of things, and that's something that you take for granted at the beginning when it's like, oh, we're taking over the ship and we just used to clean out the chicken soup nozzles, and then it's the more serious you do, you think, well, it's not realistic. Of course he knows where the trigger is, he knows how to drive Starbuck, and then they become, if you're not careful, less comic and more heroic. And of course, heroic's not what we want. We want the comic, we want the flawed, we want the lack of talent, we want the things that make comedy funny, and comedy is, obviously laughing at people and, relating to their incompetence as being, like our own incompetence. And so that's something I very much am aware I want to do, probably more than ever, to take away all their skills in a, as realistic a way as possible and make them as flawed as possible.
Sorry, in Back to Earth, you sort of, assuming that you were talking through the show, you made it pretty clear that Blade Runner was a massive influence on Dwarf.
Yeah, that was just a way to crowbar that in, really. It was. I mean, in the way that it's a brilliant, brilliant film. But in all seriousness, Alien was a bigger influence.
You could see like it was things like Dark Star and Alien, but
yeah, Dark Star for sure. Alien, yeah, definitely. And that's really where the Dave Hollins Space Cadet sketch on Son of Cliche came from. It was a combination of Rob going, okay, constantly saying, let's write something science fiction, and my only science fiction reference point at that point were movies, which I watched loads of, lots of 50s American movies, and Alien, and so we came up with something that was kind of a bit alien, a bit like the first Alien movie. And a Dark Star, of course, which I'm sure you've heard. We saw that years before. Watched it one morning on video and then went out to the pub, and the picture's clear as day. I can see it now. I was driving a blue Cortina and we both stood, and Rob was about to get in the door and I was about to get in the door, and I hit the roof and went, I've no idea for the life of me why no one has made a sitcom set in space that's a bit like Dark Star. And Rob said, yeah, it's weird, they're mad. And we both got in the car, drove off. Didn't have a conversation about anything like that for about 2 years. Just like, we do that. Oh, I didn't think of it. So. Okay.
Is the Rimmer in Back to Earth the original Rimmer who went off to be ace and has come back?
Oh, don't ask me. It's not even just after 10 o'clock. And also, I wouldn't ask Andrew Unlock, he'll know, I don't have a clue.
I'm not saying.
Say the 5th. Okay, are we done? Yeah, the star's on.
Hi Doug.
Oh, hi.
Hi. For the new series, are you going CGI or are you going proper model shots?
Well, this is an interesting thing. People don't really realise it's a bit like a football team. Sometimes you have to play a particular formation when you're playing away from home, or else you lose. It's not always what you want to do, it's what you have to do to get the job done. People would be absolutely stunned if they knew what that budget was on Dave. A lot of people look at that and think, oh, you had a much bigger budget, and we didn't. In fact, we were able to afford 3 sets because of the budget, and the way to then tell any kind of story was to set it on Earth, because that didn't involve sets, and to use CGI for the rest of it. When CGI really works, it's brilliant and it's completely invisible. When it doesn't, there's nothing worse. There is a kind of cuteness and an affection I know the Red Dwarf fans have with miniatures, because they actually, and it's really back to the thing we were talking about earlier, which is the lack of talent, the lack of skills. You don't want anything that's super duper slick, because you can get that in the big movies. So Starbucks, with that cuteness, which slightly suspended belief, worked really well. So, but having said that, miniatures generally cost much more than CGI. You can do much more with CGI once you've got a craft in the computer. You can look at it from every angle, you can bounce it around, you can do all sorts. You can't do that with a miniature. You've got to just do this motion control, and so it becomes much more expensive. The original budget, I think, for the 12 Red Dwarf flybys in the first season was £100,000. That was so much more than any effects budget we've had since. So that was just 12 shots and just going, that was it.
Over here.
Hi. During the period of Red Dwarf from series 1 to 8, and the specials, was there any member of the cast that gave you more headaches than the rest?
No, actually, no. I mean, I know. If you worded it the other way and you asked them, probably the person at the top of the list who would say they had lots of problems would be Norman. But that's Norman has not been happy for various areas of the production. Not quite sure why, but the other way around, no.
Go on over there.
How you doing?
Good.
Talkie Toaster making a return?
I'm not saying it will make it, but there is a scene in my computer that I've written with him in it. Oh, of course, yes.
Hiya, Doug.
Hi.
This has probably been a question you've asked about 1,000,001 times, but obviously we've lost that 9 years between Series 8 and BTE. Will it be covered in the new series, or are we going to have to forget about it?
No, we will deal with it, but the thing is, it's so important that the series kicks off really well, and if you then spend 10 minutes explaining what happened to a series that went on whenever it was 9 years ago, and you will also have a lot of people, a lot of papers, a lot of journalists all lined up ready to kill, who want to go, it's past its best, cast are too old, blah blah blah, let's kill it right now. So we have to start really well, and it might be one that we pick up, maybe not show 1, but we pick up farther down the line, but just try and get the thing kicked off really well.
Any more questions?
Hi, Andrew Allard here. Hello.
Oh, hello.
Just because I'm going to have to explain it on the website in a couple of days.
Yes.
You've called it Series X on Twitter. Please explain your reasoning.
That's what David called it. David called it Red Dwarf. That we've been commissioned, like it or not, for Red Dwarf X. Okay, so
it's technically a 10 series.
Yeah, technically, I think they're saying Back to Earth was 9, and I think they think X is short and I don't know, sexy, or I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi again.
Hi again.
Are you bringing Holly back and could it be Hattie?
The scripts aren't fully written yet. Well, aren't written yet. So yes, it's possible, and yes, it certainly could be Hattie. I mean, I love Norman. I adore him. I think he's absolutely hilarious. I've never had any. In fact, I brought Norman back. It's just Norman every so often declares he doesn't want to be in it. I don't know why.
So, obviously now the show's going back on TV properly, that's brilliant, you're moving forward in that way. So please, can we see the movie script in some form, in some way?
The thing about the movie script is, as soon as it's released, it means that movie script can't be made into a movie. And you look at Over to Bill cost a couple of £1,000 to make. We shot, it looks like a TV show. And what you're able to do now with the new technology is just extraordinary. With the Red Dwarf film, I did 30 rewrites, being told I had to make it more expensive, it wasn't worth them going to the work of trying to raise the money unless it cost £21 million. Got the £21 million, then that was too expensive. Rewrite it, make it 19, make it 18, make it 17, make it 50, make it 13, can you make it 10, can you make it 8? All rewrites, and I had to work out how you shot it and where you shot it each time I did a rewrite because I was directing it. Now I know we could make a really good Red Dwarf film, and I think a Red Dwarf film that the Red Dwarf fans would want, as opposed to something maybe that the money people wanted, which was, you know, our version of Star Wars. I don't think that's actually what you want. I think you want just a really good Red Dwarf film with miniatures and all those things, and I think we could deliver that for something that would really make the people put money into it. So if anyone in the audience today has a few million, just tweet me. Any more? No? Okay. Thanks, guys, for your continued support. We really appreciate it. Without you, we wouldn't be back. Thank you. Oh, and just one last thing. The reason we are back is because Red Dwarf Back to Earth, and it was repeated over that Easter bank holiday weekend, got an aggregated total of 11.5 million viewers. The average day audience is 250,000. So it's the biggest total any show has got on a UK non-terrestrial station. So that means Back to Earth, Series 8, Series 7 on each of those series has been the ratings record of the time. So it would be great if we could keep that up, but obviously we can only keep that up if you guys continue to watch it. So thanks so much. We wouldn't be here if you weren't. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.